All right. Good afternoon, guys. Give me a thumbs up in chat if you guys can hear me okay. We're going to go live here and we're going to talk about today's severe risk and also talk about some ongoing storms that are happening across northern Indiana. We have a couple severe, not a couple, we have one severe warning in effect. It's going to be for the North Judson area. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But I want to see if you guys can hear me first and go from there. Give me a thumbs up here if you guys can hear me. Anybody at all? Okay, thanks, Casey. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on down here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Stark, Pulaski, Fulton, and Marshall County. It's going to be in effect for 36 minutes. Hazard is 60-mile-per-hour winds, and there's a tag on this for a possible tornado here. The SPC, as of the latest 12:30 update, did add a 2% risk for a tornado across the northwest corner of the state. So it's just enough wind shear, and there's a few surface boundaries out there that could aid in some spin in the atmosphere. This storm is rotating very broadly here. Flip over here to velocity. You're going to see the reds and the greens here. The reds are going away from the radar this way. The greens are going toward the radar that way. We have a bit of rotation there over the Aldine area. Or is it Aldine? Let me know in the comments here. Is it Aldine or Aldine? Heading toward Bass Station, Aura, and Monterey, as well as Culver. So it's going to be riding the boundary between Pulaski and Stark County line, heading into Marshall and Fulton County line next couple of minutes. So we're going to track this until the storm is no longer warned or it weakens. Up here to the north here, just north of Napanee, south of Elkhart, we do have an area, a pocket perhaps of some gustier winds heading toward the Lock area just south of Wakarusa. This is going to be moving to the east here at roughly 30 to 40 miles per hour. There's no warning on that, but there is a statement about to expire. It says wind gusts up to 50 in pea-size hail with that one. Now, for severe, it's 58 or greater mile per hour winds. So they're saying it's just below severe criteria. Wouldn't be shocked, though, if they slap a warning on that. And that storm here, if that intensifies any further. Our focus is going to remain down here on the cell. If you notice, there is a little bit of a boundary here. There's a little bit of a showing up on radar. This is an outflow boundary from a previous thunderstorm that this storm may try to latch onto and enhance its wind shear, perhaps a little lift there as well. So this storm is in a good spot for some severe weather, perhaps a brief tornado as well. So we're going to watch this carefully. Anything that rotates or has a possible tag for a tornado, we're going to go live for that. We're going to cover it. So we're going to track this very carefully here. I'm going to switch over to my advanced radar just because I like to look on this a little better. It's going to be a little bit confusing. It's going to be two screens for you guys. But this is going to show us the radar on the left, your typical rain reflectivity. On the right side, your wind velocity here. What we want to see, or we don't want to see, these two colors really start to brighten and also tighten. Right now, they're kind of broad. They're not overly tight just yet. There's just enough there to warrant concern, but it's not tight to say, hey, this is going to be tornadic, in 5 minutes or less. This is going to be heading toward the Marshall and Fulton County line area. I'm going to switch on the cities here, actually, so you guys can see city names. This is going to be just to the east of Denham, south of Bass Lake, heading toward Monterey, Culver, and DeLong. New scan coming in here. We're going to take a peek at that in just a second. We're getting radar scans here. Looks like every 3 minutes or so. Outside this storm, we have a couple other areas. Nothing severe, but up here again, further north in Elkhart County, near the Wakarusa area, got a nice gusty storm there. Going to move toward Napanee. To the south, down here toward Rensselaer and Morocco, we do have another cell down there that's perhaps gusty in nature. There's no statement, no warning on that, but the environment today would support a brief chance for a gusty, severe wind threat, and again, perhaps a brief, weak tornado in addition to that. So we're going to keep an eye on things today. The good news is with this storm is it's not tightening up rotation wise. I will say there is a hill core on this. So we go up in the atmosphere a couple thousand feet we're going to see that hail core is actually very healthy. This is at 25,000 feet. You can still see the hail core there. It's a very tall updraft. Let's go up even further if we can. About right there. This is at 35,000 feet. Let's go back down a little bit. Yeah, we're about there. About 24,000 feet or so is where our hail core is currently at with this storm. That would be enough for likely some nickel to quarter size hail, which this storm, I believe, is says less than penny size. I wouldn't be shocked there's some larger stones in there, though. What's up, Caleb from Adrian? Dawn from Columbus. The beauty with pop-up days like today is we have storms that could pop up anywhere, anytime. And for right now, the entire state of Indiana is in a general thunderstorm risk. If you're north of Indianapolis, one of those storms could be strong, perhaps severe in nature. And again, damaging winds are primary concern and brief tornado possible, especially up on this line where it's currently looking out on your screen. This area here has the best chance for anything tornadic short term. But asking about locations and timeframes for impact is kind of useless on a pop-up storm type of day. This is not going to be a huge big line that's going to push through. It's going to be pop-ups throughout the afternoon and evening. So I can't really predict when and where. It's just not possible on days like today. Latest scan here. I do want to take note. There is a little bit of a hook forming on this storm here. You can see the little cursor I'm trying to draw, like right here. There's a little bit of a hook there. That could be an indication that it's about to try to wrap up on itself. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. But the good news is on the rotation side, the right side of your screen, it's still not looking tight. You want to see those colors intensify and meet. And right now they're pretty broad in nature. So it's definitely rotating. It's just not rotating that hard. The tag on the storm remains for a possible tornado as well as 60 mile per hour winds. This is going to be near Bass Lake, Monterey, and Culver areas. Other localized areas include Aura. We're going to look at State Route 17 near DeLong, Culver, Burr Oak, Hibbard, and Winona. This is where you're basically right on the county line of Pulaski and Stark. And as it moves to the east, it'll be right on the line between Marshall and Fulton County here in a few minutes. We have a couple storm hunters in the area who may try to go out and get a visual on the storm for us. Be live here until this storm is either weakened or there's no more warnings on this in the state. I can't imagine they'll be a too long of a stream. Some isolated pop-up, storms could go strong or severe, especially north of Indianapolis, as mentioned. But today's threat should be isolated, more so, sporadic in nature versus anything organized or widespread. So keep an eye on this. This is the only warning in the state currently. It is rotating, which is why we went live for it, just in case it does decide to wrap up on itself. It's a low chance it does, but it's a chance nonetheless. We're going to cover it. So here we are. The entire state today has a chance for a pop-up shower or storm. North of Indianapolis has the best chance for one of those storms to be strong, perhaps severe. It's a pretty easy forecast. New scan just came in on my end of things. Wait for the velocity scan here to update. Yeah, so far the rotation here on the right side of your screen has remained weak. So I hope that trend continues. They're running every 2.5 minutes or so on the radar scans. We got to wait between scans for that long, so it's a little bit of a waiting game. But this new scan should pop in here any minute. Yeah, so area of interest is going to be centered right about here, just south of Bass Lake. It's going to be near Bass Station, heading into Aura. It's trying to tighten up right here, but it's not very strong in nature. So if you're on the storm, I bet you there's a nice lowering called a wall cloud. I bet you that's probably with this storm. But for in terms of rotation, I'm not seeing anything overly tight that suggests this is going to be on the ground anytime soon. But on days like today, I can't always say that with certainty because sometimes things get missed under the radar. The beam height at this location is roughly 3,000 feet. So what that means basically is from the radar site over here in North Webster, it shoots out. In this location, the radar beam is looking at 3,000 feet and higher in the atmosphere. What's below 3,000 feet, we cannot see. So if there's any stronger rotation below 3,000 feet, it ain't going to show up on radar. Zooming out here, taking a peek at the radar across the state currently. Again, pop-ups are possible everywhere in the state. Some of those in the north side of Indianapolis, that's anywhere from Indianapolis on north, I-70 north, has a chance for a strong or perhaps severe storm. South Indianapolis should just be general thunderstorms. Your current radar shows multiple areas of showers and storms ongoing. Those will intensify and increase in coverage as the day goes on. Let's go to South Indiana here. Take on the Indianapolis radar. Current radar down there is mostly clear, but a couple areas and pockets of showers there down by DuPont, as well as down here near Petersburg and Princeton areas. Let's go and take a look at the Evansville radar. Yeah, just some scattered showers moving in here. So overall, South Indiana is about 95% dry currently, and Northern Indiana is probably about 70 to 80% dry currently, but there's some pockets of rain out there. And again, today, if you're going to ask locations and time frames, I can't get specific with you because it's a pop-up day. There's no organized lines that are going to form and push through the state. We can't time it out like that. So pop-ups are possible all afternoon into the evening hours. Some of those could be strong or severe north of Indianapolis. Back over here to our currently warned storm. The rotation is again centered just south of Bass Lake. Not overly tight, but definitely rotating to keep an eye on that. It is insanely hot and humid here. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And yeah, I don't like the latest scan here. It's trying to, you can kind of see it wraps up on itself. So this is going to be interesting to track this next couple of scans. Let's go ahead and take a peek at this. Yeah, it's going to be moving just to the north of Aura. It's going to be following very close to, looks like East 750 South. This is going to be just within Stark County, just above Pulaski County. Yeah, with that surface boundary here, if this storm can attach itself to this, you can see a kind of like a line from Argos down here to Winnemac. You can kind of see that is an outflow boundary. And if this storm can attach itself to that boundary, it may try to spin a bit harder as well. So that's one of those mesoscale, small scale features we got to keep a close eye on here. Looks like the latest scan just came in as well. They looks like they were up these scans to about a minute and a half. So rotation now centered directly over South 700 East Road. That's going to be a north-south road that runs just north of Aura. And areas out ahead of this are going to be, going to be Culver and Monterey areas. State Route 17 and State Route 110 will be in the path of this. The storm is moving to the east at roughly 30, it says 25 miles per hour in the text of the warning. And it looks like we're going to have to do a little bit of a track on this. Let's go ahead and do this real quick. It's going to be .275 over 20. Update my storm vector here. 270 over. 275 over 20. Okay, I got that right. Yeah, there's a little bit better of your velocity here. You can definitely see this is rotating in on itself. So these are the outbound winds. We don't have much inbound winds, which is good news. We want to see a bigger green area there. So far, so good, although we have another area developing back here in the rain. We're trying to cycle, we call pat or handing off. So a new area of rotation now embedded just south of Bass Lake, kind of cycle back to its west here. So we'll have to keep an eye and see which one becomes dominant. But now two areas of rotation here. I believe you're going to see this one weaken and the one on the left start to increase. So that means back here toward Bass Station, just south of Bass Lake, is back under the gun as the storm is cycling back to its west. We do not have an app, Daniel, but we're working on it. So stay tuned for that. It might be a next year type of launch. So hopefully we'll have that ready for you guys, but no promises on that. It's still a work in progress. I can do that. I can do that for sure. Give me a second. So current SPC outlook for the day. This is your risk area. Anywhere in dark green is in that severe risk, as I've been saying, north Indianapolis. Anywhere south of Indianapolis, you can't rule out an isolated strong storm down there, but the chances are much higher for the north. The risk today, it is a 5 to 14% probability of a damaging wind gust within 25 miles anywhere in that brown zone. Then the latest update did add a risk for a tornado. It's 2 to 4% in that green shade area. So that's going to be really Lafayette to South Bend over to Fort Wayne and back toward Gary, almost down to Terre Haute, but not quite to Terre Haute. So wind and an isolated tornado is your hazard today, and that's primarily for North Indiana, North Indianapolis. Still watching the storm. It's going to be crossing over into Marshall and Fulton counties momentarily. Two areas and pockets of rotation that are kind of, we're going to say, broad in nature. If they tighten any further, I'd be more concerned. But right now, the warning's in effect for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a tag from the NWS for a possible tornado. Bass Lake is right here in your map. It's going to be in Stark County, just south of Knox. Latest scan definitely decreases rotation. That's good news. We're going to keep an eye on this area to the east. It looks like it's trying to re-strengthen. So that's going to be heading close to Monterey, close to DeLong and Culver, those areas. What lake is this right here? This is going to be Lake. Good luck pronouncing that. Maxon. Somebody help me out. Is it Maxon Cookie? I feel like that's completely botched. Somebody help me out in chat there. How do you pronounce that? I have never heard of that lake in my life. We got Steven in here with us. Our watchers. He is actually, Steven, you can go ahead and say where you're at, where you're headed.
Yeah, I'm on 31 south of Rochester right now. Plan is I'm going to go just north of Rochester and see if I can get in the path of this thing as it comes through.
Okay. Thank you much. So Steven's going to be out there in the Rochester area. He's going to be out ahead of the storm. He's going to get in position for it as it moves to the east. So hopefully have a visual of this here in a couple minutes. So we'll let him do his thing. He'll be in the bottom left for you guys to keep an eye on. I pronounced it correctly. Okay, cool. So area rotation has remained broad. It's currently centered over East 850 South, Moving into, looks like this is perhaps a trailer park or more populated area between East 900 South, and looks like we have Poplar Street, Beach Street, Oak Street, and Elm Street here. That general area is going to be where the rotation is centered over. It doesn't look tight. It doesn't look overly concerning, but definitely is rotating, and that prompts us to go live here. We're going to remain live until this is either weakened or the warning has dropped. But now we have a storm hunter out there. Probably live until we have a visual on the storm, unless it weakens entirely. But no, this is going to be moving east at about 25 to 30 miles an hour, heading toward Monterey, Culver, and DeLong. Yeah, today is a pop-up storm type of day, so I can't really time anything out for you like we usually can with big lines or, all I can tell you is pop-up storms are possible across all of Indiana today, primarily this afternoon into the early evening hours. Latest scan here continues that rotation. Definitely was a little tighter back here, but it's going to try to wrap up on itself again. If you kind of notice on the right side of your screen here, you can kind of see how it kind of spins on itself. It kind of goes kind of counterclockwise motion. I believe it's about to do that again here, probably between Monterey and DeLong. So we'll see if it is successful in doing that, but it looks pretty weak in nature still. But it's probably about to wrap up on itself, or at least try to again momentarily. This is about to be centered over the 4 county lines where they all come together and meet. Marshall, Fulton, Pulaski, and Stark counties. This little cross here that I'm circling on the right side of your screen, that is the 4 county line area. So it's about to be potentially in 4 counties at once. It's coming up close to the town of Culver. It should be just south of the town of Culver. Going to cross very close to the intersection of State Route 17 and State Route 110. Outside the rotation, the wind honestly doesn't look that half bad with this storm. Excuse me. Let's check on our hail core. The hail core is still very healthy, about 25,000 feet with this. So perhaps, again, penny-sized hail is possible with this storm. I will also say this. I just noticed this while I was cycling through these. If we go up in the atmosphere here, the rotation is actually a little bit tighter the higher you go. It's a pretty deep mesocyclone here. It expands very, very tall. It's actually very intense. It's spinning pretty hard up there. So it's about, yeah, it's actually, Stephen, if you can hear me, this storm is rotating very, very well in the mid-levels here. So if it translates to the ground, it could actually put something down here. It's a very low chance, but still, it's rotating pretty hard. Just passing just north of Monterey. They just went ahead and extended the warning over. Includes Rochester, Argos, Athens, Talma, Tippecanoe, and Rutland areas. Southern part of Marshall, northern part of Fulton County. Same hazards, 60 mile per hour winds and possible tornado. The yellow box will pop on your screen here. It just basically extends it. There it is right there. New warning incoming. Again, zooming out here, taking a peek across the northern half of the state. We have areas of numerous showers and storms ongoing. Just one, though, is warned. It's going to be for northern Fulton and southern Marshall counties. That warning's in effect for about 57 more minutes, puts us right about 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. A couple areas down here in the east central part of the state do have a couple areas of heavy rain and thunderstorms going on near Muncie and Hartford City areas. Right now, not seeing anything strong or severe with those. Let's go south here, down here to the good old Evansville radar and take a peek at this. Not seeing anything on velocity that indicates severe weather is happening there, but there are some pop-up storms that are going on there in Gibson as well as Knox and Pike counties. Keeping a close eye back here near Jasper County, just near Gifford and Rensselaer. This storm is also showing signs of weak rotation here as well. This rotation over here by DeLong is broadened out almost completely. So hopefully that's a good sign. Let's just wait it out here and see what's going to do. A couple cells going up here by Mount Etna. Looks like we have one near Andrews heading toward Huntington. Also up here by Roanoke and Laud. Hope I got that right. This cell down here by Jonesboro, Fairmount, is actually rotating too. That's weird. That is crazy. We'll keep an eye on things, though. Severe warning in effect is going to be for Marshall and Fulton counties, and then the storm is exiting Pulaski and Stark counties. So we'll have to track this here as it moves east. Now, this storm continues on its east trek. Silver Lake, Claypool, Warsaw, Mentone, and South Whitley would be on deck here, but the storm is going 25 miles per hour, so it's going to take a little while to get over to you. But if this storm holds together, that will be the general direction it's heading. Got a nice shelf cloud in front of you, looks like, Steven.
Yeah, I'm going to park up here just on top of this hill when I get up here and kind of point north-northwest and see. I don't want to get right in the center of the line of the path. I'm going to stay a little south of it. But here, just a second, I'm going to stop and park.
Okay. Sounds good. Steve, I'm going to go ahead and mute you. So if you want to talk, go ahead and unmute yourself then, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Sweet. Again, Steven's going to be off right ahead of the storm. So I'll have a view on this momentarily. So you guys a nice view of this incoming shortly. This storm is heading right for him. So the good news, though, is based on latest couple of scans, the rotation is, well, it was unorganized, and now it looks like it is getting organized again. In fact, I think he's looking west of the storm. Let's go ahead and bring him back up there. Looks like he is. Steve, are you looking west of this?
Yeah, currently I'm facing west right now. So
okay.
I'm just off of 31, and I should be Yeah, I'm looking west right now.
Okay.
So it should be coming right at me.
Yep. So he's going to be just off of 31 here. Go ahead and take back the radar. So here's 31, this north-south road here in orange. He just pulled off of there. He's facing due west of the storm. So he's looking right at the area of rotation, which is over here about, pinpoint this. It's about 10 miles from 31. So it's got a little bit to get to him, but he's looking right at the area of interest. So I believe you can see the lowering, or at least a shelf cloud perhaps, out there in the distance. So see what happens. This is the only severe storm in the state currently. Again, counties include going to be Southern Marshall and Northern Fulton counties. Warning is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds primarily, and the tag for a tornado is on this storm. So a possible tornado is, I guess I'm saying it repetitively, there is potential for a tornado with this storm. Leave it at that. Area of rotation is now crossed over basically directly on the county line of Fulton and Marshall near the town of Monterey and DeLong. It's following State Route 110 very closely. Warnings in effect for 50 more minutes. Excuse me. Current time is 2:55 p.m. Eastern. So that puts the warning out to roughly 3:45 p.m. Eastern as an expiration time. This storm is very broadly rotating. It continues to broadly rotate as it pushes to the east. As our policy here at IWN, we are live for any severe warning that contains a considerable or destructive tag, as well as a tornado possible tag with it. So this one contains that possible tornado tag and it has rotation on radar. So we pop it in here and we're live. Nice looking base there. Can't tell if that's a shelf cloud though, or is that the lowering itself?
I can't quite tell. It doesn't look like a shelf yet, but the angle that I'm sitting at, it could be.
Right. I'm looking at your position based at the area of interest. It's about 9.5 miles to your west. So I think that's a little too close to be the area of interest, truthfully. Unless I'm misjudging your distance there. Unless you think it's 10 miles away.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, it's very smooth in nature. I like it.
As the crow flies, I'm 12.5 miles from Monterey.
Yep, I got that. Yeah, about 9 miles to your west would be the area of rotation. So I guess that could be it. Taking back the radar here real quick. Area of rotation continues. It's going to be right here on the county line. This is going to be Marshall County up here. This is going to be Fulton County right here. It's going to be near the town of DeLong, about 2 miles north of DeLong. Latest scan does weaken it out just a bit more, so that's good news. Again, Stevens out there just off of 31, looking west directly at the area of interest. While we have a brief pause in the action, so to speak, give a shout out to our sponsors, Michaelis, for restoration or roofing needs in the greater Indianapolis area. If you need tree services, Rutgers Outdoor Services, also in the Indianapolis area for any tree service needs. These partners are trusted with us. We have to thank them for sponsoring us, but also providing services to you guys in the event that you happen to need them. So feel free to get a hold of these guys or contact us and we can put you in touch with the proper person. Current time is 2:58. This is going to be a live look at Steven, one of our storm hunters. He's out there in the field on this warned storm for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a possible tornado. It can be for southern Marshall County, northern Fulton County until 3:45 p.m. Eastern. As of 2:59 p.m. right now, area of interest of rotation is basically riding along or just to the north of State Route 110, going just to the east, moving due east and just a bit south towards Richland Center and Walnut areas. Currently, the rotation is not overly tight, but it is spinning, so it is worth watching. I do believe the storm has picked up its speed just a bit. Taking back the radar here, zooming out, taking a look back at our areas of rotation that were on here about 5-10 minutes ago near Jasper. I'm going to switch radars over here to Chicago's. It's a bit closer over here. This is going to be over in Jasper County. A little bit of rotation showing up there. I'll have to watch that. Take back our look here at Indianapolis's radar. Take a peek up here in this neck of the woods. Some gusty winds heading into Blackford County. It's going to be moving just to the north of Muncie towards Portland and Pennville areas. Not severe, but it could be deserving of a statement. Looks like its winds are out 30 or 40 mile per hour there on radar. That's your look across the state. One warning in effect: Marshall, Fulton County, 60 mile per hour winds and a possible tornado tag. Some pop-ups are possible across the entire state today. North of Indianapolis has a best chance for a strong, perhaps severe storm. Damaging wind, primary concern, cannot rule out a brief, weak tornado. South of Indianapolis, storms are still possible. They're just not expected to be strong or severe in nature. I'll say it's not going to happen south of Indianapolis, but the environment is much better to the north of Indianapolis. This is going to be, again, on the county line of Fulton and Marshall counties. Steven is right off of US 31, looking west directly at the storm. Aside from any severe storms or severe wind or perhaps a brief tornado, any storm that happens today may have potential, it will have potential for torrential rainfall. And if we have numerous storms that go over the exact same areas, we could have some flash flooding ongoing as well. It's very typical in summertime setups. A lot of moisture out there. Don't be shocked if you come across localized ponding and flooding of waters. Stephen, are those winds going to the east or west, or what direction are the winds in front of you?
Oh, stand by. I'm trying to look at the corner and figure it out. It looks like they're going southwest, which doesn't make sense for me.
Yeah, if they're going southwest, I'm thinking that could be inflow to the storm.
Yeah,
That's what it looks
they're
like.
definitely. If you look at the corn here, just off to my right, I'm facing west, and it's blowing down the road here. So yeah, that's the inflow. Sorry,
Yeah,
my camera's a little canted on my mount here when I turn it. But
yeah, inflow basically just means the storm typically is still healthy in nature. It's taking on inflow. Now, when they go outflow dominant, that's a bad sign for severe weather because that means the storm is losing intensity. But those outflow winds could be still severe in nature. So the fact that Stephen here is showing winds that are going toward the storm looks like that indicates the storm is still very healthy in nature. Also, I don't know if you turned your camera because you see the same thing I do, but over those trees looks very interesting to me.
yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. I wish I had a higher spot or somewhere else that there's not that I can sit and get a better view. But I'm afraid if I try to go back on 31 and find something, I'm not going to find a better spot than what I'm at.
Yeah, no, I just sit tight right there and just wait for it to come over the hill. Or the trees, should I say. Looking at the rotation on radar, let's get another look at this real quick. Looks like the core of the storm is actually intensifying a little bit. Let's check on the rotation of this. Yeah, still pretty broad, unorganized in nature. So area of interest, rotation-wise, is might be trying to cycle south, just so you're aware.
Okay.
There's no new area of interest, but it looks like it's trying to back build and form a new hook to the south. It actually just merged with another storm as well, so we'll see what happens with this. Sometimes when these cells combine or merge together, that can sometimes cause excess lift and sometimes excess shear as well. But also, on the flip side of that, it can kill storms. So mergers and cells that collide together are always kind of fun to watch because you never know what's going to happen with them. So these two cells here, looks like they combined, and now it's a waiting game to see if they're going to die or if they're going to do anything at all. I'm very, very curious here. Looks like there's an area that's going to collide. Looks like just near Richland Center. So as of 3:07 on radar, there's no tight rotation, but the cell is merging with another cell, which has my eye. Yeah, so your area of interest, Steven's going to be just off to your north there, beyond those trees.
All right. I think I'm still in a decent spot. I can turn if I need to and get a good view. Obviously, I don't want to be sitting right in front of it, but
Right. Nah. Yeah, you're fine. Even if the cell merges, it's going to be to your north, so you're good for now. Taking back the radar here, what I'm kind of keeping a close eye on is there is a cell. This one right here. This cell popped open right ahead of this, and it kind of collided with the. See how it just kind of merged? As it merged, it also kind of wrapped up on itself just a bit. And as a result, there's some increase of velocity right here. So I'm just kind of curious if it's going to try to wrap up on itself or it's just going to merge and continue on. Stevens going to be in Fulton County, right off US 31 looking west towards the town of Culver, DeLong area. It's a nice shelf cloud there. It's getting pushed outward. I'll give it that. The warning continues for a possible tornado as well as 60-mile-per-hour winds with the storm. It's about to cross US 31 here in a few minutes near Richland Center, Walnut, and Talma areas. It should go just south of Tippecanoe, north of Rochester. They just trimmed this warning back just a hair. Continues it for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a tornado possible tag. Yes, this is Indiana. Keeping a close eye back here on this storm as well. That's exhibiting some signs of some weak rotation. So we'll keep a close eye on that one here. It's going to be back in Jasper County. It's going to be moving into Pulaski County near the town of Franceville and Newland. There's your rotation in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Let's take back the radar here in the IWX. There we go. Perfect. We'll go ahead and take back Steven's camera here. Steven is looking directly at the severe storm. We're about to find out if it's going to be windy here. Now, I would definitely say, Steven, the area of interest is cycling to your south.
All right.
If you look on radar, you can see the hook developing down there. It's going to be
By Kewanna.
Yeah, that area. That's what I'm thinking. It's going to be the new area of interest. It's kind of merged together, became a blob.
All right.
You may still get some gusty winds with this, so.
Yeah, the rain is just about on me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up and turn around and then chase this thing back south on 31 as it comes through.
Okay.
And that should put me in a spot to catch the hook.
Yeah, it's moving pretty slow there, so you got a lot of time to get out ahead of it. So we'll keep an eye on his feed down there, bottom left of your screen. He's about to intercept the storm and figure out how strong the winds are. Currently, the area of rotation is on your screen currently, just south of the town of Walnut near Richland Center. But this storm, if you look on radar here, the storm emerged and now a new hook is developing down here where I think the new area of interest is going to be. So if you're down here in the Rochester area, be on alert as the storm pushes your direction. It's not organizing itself right now, but in the event it does organize, it'd be directly over Rochester or heading into Rochester. So the area of interest to Stephen will be directly over you right now. It's not strong in nature, but if there was something down or spinning, it'd be right over you.
All right. Kind of feels like I'm driving in a tunnel right now with the corn being up and the sides of me, and then the dark clouds, and all I have is the light to my east. It's kind of like driving in a tunnel.
Stephen's dropping south here, right along US 31.
All right, here's the wind.
Take back the radar here. Nothing organized. Warning continues for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a possible tornado tag on it. Just one storm in the state currently that's warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a possible tag for a. Looking at the other areas across the state, we do see a couple of storms that have popped up in Blackford and Jay counties. Currently not severe with those, but some gusty winds are definitely possible, especially here. It's going to be over the town of Hartford. Other than that, I'm not really seeing too much of anything to be overly concerned about. These storms that are up here in northern Indiana do have some broad rotation with each one, but nothing that screams tornado at this current time. So just because rotating doesn't always mean it's going to be a tornado. It can rotate and not be a tornado. So right now it looks like it's pretty weak in nature. So let's hope that continues. As of current time, 3:17, just one warning in the state for northern Fulton and southern Marshall counties in northern Indiana. The storm is heading toward the cities of Rochester, Walnut, Tippecanoe, and Athens, as well as Talma. Akron be in the path of this as well. It's outside the current warning polygon, but it would be heading your general direction here in the next couple of minutes. This warning contains that tag for a tornado, and we're going to go ahead and go live here, IWN, for any and all severe warnings that contain a considerable, destructive, or a tornado tag on them. So as long as the storm has that and looks strong in nature, we'll be live. But I will say the good news is, aside from the brief, broad rotation we're seeing with this storm, it doesn't look severe wind-wise, really, or hail-wise. Looking on the radar here, I don't see any pockets of damaging wind. I don't really see anything that's overly tight in terms of rotation. So as soon as the storm drops that tag, we'll probably pop out of here. Unless we're getting reports of damage or something significant happens, I don't really see much anything to be concerned about besides that weak rotation with this storm. Speaking of damage, you guys have reports of that, feel free to message the page or drop a comment on one of our posts. If you have a picture or a video, please report that to our messenger. We cannot see pictures and videos here in the live stream comments. Yeah, this storm looks pretty unorganized now, man. I think that merger kind of killed it a little bit. Let's go ahead and take another track on this. We're looking at 279 over 22 now. So my radar software I'm using here, I can adjust the storm direction and speed, and it'll update my velocity map for me so it's aligned properly. It gives me a better idea of what's going on with the storm. So right now, this is a supercell. You can see the nice hook here. There's a boundary here, a boundary there, and boundaries can create lift and enhance wind shear. And this storm happens to be in the vicinity of two of those, which is why this is likely rotating. Sit back here. Been live for about an hour now. Taking a peek elsewhere, we have a couple storms going up now in Allen County as well as Huntington counties. Those don't look severe in nature, but this one does look gusty heading into Fort Wayne. Not severe, but definitely be prepared for a little bit of a gusty wind there. Further south near the town of Hartford, there is a pocket of gusty winds down there. There still is. We'll watch that closely. Not warned, not statemented currently, or is it statemented? It is. Statement on that is going to be for 40-mile-per-hour winds. Let me go ahead and switch back over here to my other radar just because it does show statements better than the one I'm using now. There we go. This is Radar Omega. Better look at this. Here we go. So there's a storm down here in Hartford, Montpelier areas. Gusty winds are occurring with that storm, but nothing looks severe. A lot of lightning, though. Further south here, there's nothing currently on the Indianapolis radar or around Indianapolis. Down here by Vincennes and Princeton, we do have a line looks like developing near Washington, heading into Jasper and Linton areas, as well as Jasonville and Sullivan. This is currently not severe. And down further south of Indianapolis is not expected to be severe. Further north, though, north of Indianapolis, these storms up here do have potential to become strong and severe with potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a tornado possible, especially up here north of US 24, which we don't know is this highway right here. Yep. So this warning is in effect for 22 more minutes. As I said before, once this warning does get dropped, the storm weakens, we'll pop out of here. We go live here at IWN for warnings that contain tags for considerable, which is 70 plus mile per hour winds or golf ball size hail. Destructive, which is baseball sized hail or 80 plus mile per hour winds. Or if a warning contains a tag for a tornado or a tornado warning, we go live for that here in Indiana. Looks like the old area of interest was right here. As you can kind of animate that, that's now gone for the most part. This is a surface boundary right here. This could be some gustier winds heading into Rochester, but nothing definitive. I was keeping a close eye back here on this area near Pershing, but that doesn't really line up with much of anything. So that's clear air, as we call it. But yeah, this storm has become, I'm not going to say unorganized, but definitely not as organized as it was a half hour to an hour ago. Very windy in Fulton County. Thank you, Mackenzie, for that. How gusty? How windy? Can you estimate? You guys give us reports like that. It's always helpful to kind of estimate how gusty or how large of hail it is. Stuff like that. It helps us out to kind of communicate that better. So if you can be as specific as possible, that help us out a lot. Rochester is now getting rain. Yeah, pretty heavy rain at that. So perhaps some gustier winds there too with that boundary that's going over Rochester. I am keeping a close eye. It's still on the backside of this. Stevens in the center of this, getting cored by rain, as we call it. It doesn't look too windy there on his stream, but it is raining pretty hard. And with that rain, a lot of moisture out there today. Flash flooding or just localized ponding of water is still possible, especially if storms can go over the exact same areas. So, for example, you have storms that are kind of moving in the same general area along this, we're going to call it a boundary here. This area especially could get some flooding as these storms continue to go one over the other. We'll see if they extend this warning over here. This is going to be for Kosciuszko, perhaps northern Wabash. We'll see if they reissue this or not. I don't think they will, or if they do, it'll be for wind and not anything tornadic. But there is a little bit of rotation still showing up there, but it's mostly on the backside of the storm, which I don't think doesn't really line up very well. So more of a downburst signature than anything. So if the warning continues for just wind, we'll probably go ahead and pop out of here. If it does get warned again, it'll probably be for the areas like Silver Lake, Akron, Mentone, perhaps Warsaw, Pierceton, perhaps as far east as South Whitley. But as of right now, this storm is looking on the weaker side of things in terms of rotation, even wind as well. There's definitely a signature in there for some downbursts, which is basically wind that goes this way and this way away from each other, opposite of rotation. It's basically indicating that rain's falling very heavily. It hits the ground and spreads outward with a lot of force. So that's a downburst or microburst, as people call it. So that could be happening there, and that can cause wind gusts up to 60, sometimes higher than that in stronger storms, but this one looks pretty weak in nature. So we'll see if they continue the warning, if they're going to drop it here. Continues for 15 more minutes, but the storm will be out of this polygon momentarily. Thank you, Mackenzie. Pockets of smaller hail possible as well. There's your hail tracker. There's a bit of it near Walnut and Rochester areas, near Pershing, Talma, Richland Center. Can't imagine it be larger than P, maybe dime at most. Where we are located in the rain seems where we're located, the rain seems to avoid us at all costs. We are in a severe drought, so hoping for rain to actually hit this time. Yeah, that's the case for a lot of us here in Indiana, even parts of Ohio and Michigan. There are pockets of ongoing drought conditions that have kind of popped up. And that's usually the case in summertime. A lot of areas, because we get like a lot of days of pop-up storms. Pop-ups aren't widespread. They're pop-ups. They're isolated. So a lot of areas, unfortunately, get drought conditions throughout the summertime due to that kind of pattern we're in, July, August area. So hopefully that kind of starts coming to an end here as we get toward September and we get more widespread rain systems and stuff to kind of move in toward the fall season. I'm going to check out the power outage map and just kind of see what's up with that. If anything at all. Nope, nothing. We have, actually, I lied. Stark County has 200 people, Marshall has 151, and Fulton has 1. And the good news is they have continued, well, bad news is they continued the warning, but the good news is that warning does not contain the tag for a possible tornado. New warning incoming, though. North Manchester, Laketon, Servia, Silver Lake, Disco, Akron, Packerton, Claypool, Sydney, Kinsey, Burkett, Mentone, Beaver Dam, Lowman Corner, and the warning stops just shy of South Whitley, Larwill, and Bippus. 60-mile-per-hour winds is the only hazard with this warning. No tag for tornadoes and no hail at a severe size is included. So, with that said, that is the case. I don't see too much in the way of indication that it's gusty, severe-wise. I would expect there to be 40, 50-mile-per-hour winds. Can't rely on severe wind gusts, obviously. It's warned. But usually with these storms, we see a big, brighter red or green velocity. Not always, but usually we see that. We're not really seeing too much with the storm that indicates that. We are seeing a lot of reds and greens here. It's not really rotation, more so signature of a downburst or microburst ongoing here. So the reds are going away from the radar. Greens are kind of going toward the radar. It's kind of moving away from each other. So that's good news. And with that said, Steven, what is your plan here? Because I'm about to end the stream here as long as nothing else looks severe.
Yeah, I'm going to get some gas right now, and then I think I'll just start making my way back down towards the house.
Okay.
I'm not really seeing anything building up, so I'm just going to refuel and head on back home and keep watching.
All right.
Other than some localized street flooding, we don't have anything really going on. Oh, Jesus. I don't know if you caught that or not.
I did. I'm not sure the guys who are watching did, but yeah, I got some localized flooding there, and that's going to be the case today with heavier thunderstorms. A lot of rainfall out there with a lot of moisture in the atmosphere producing heavy torrential rainfall rates. So not surprising by that at all. But we're going to go ahead and probably pop out of here. I'll be monitoring behind the scenes with the guys here. We'll go live if we need to, again, for anything rotation, or if anything goes considerable or destructive tagged, we'll go back live for it. I will say I do want to mention there is a pocket of gustier winds heading into Fort Wayne that is not currently statemented or warned for anything. It doesn't appear to be severe, but it does appear to be gusty in nature, 35 to 40 mile per hour winds heading into the south side of Fort Wayne proper, perhaps a bit south of Fort Wayne. So places like Lincolnshire, Fairfax, Anthony Wayne Village town, or neighborhoods, those areas. So south side of Fort Wayne, gustier winds possible, heading toward Maples, Hoagland, and Monroeville. That continues east. With that said, we're going to pop out of here. And like I said, we'll monitor behind the scenes. If anything goes warned again and contains a tag for either destructive, considerable, or a tornado, we'll go back live and we'll cover it in entirety. And with that said, I'm Ryan alongside Steven here, one of our storm hunters. Indiana Weather Network signing off for now. We will be live again if need be later on today.